Most people will go through their entire lives without ever finding their purpose. Not because they're lazy, not because they're not talented, but because they were never taught how. Every day looks the same. Go to work, come home tired, scroll through your phone, rest, and then repeat. Same routine daily. At some point, life stops feeling exciting and starts feeling automatic. And the scary part is, most people don't even realize it's happening. They just keep moving. Not because they're happy, but because they're afraid to stop. Afraid to ask themselves, what do I actually want from life? So instead, they distract themselves with social media, entertainment, fake goals, and endless comparison. Every day they watch other people living their dreams, while secretly feeling lost inside. But here's the truth nobody talks about. Finding your purpose is hard, because the world trains you to ignore yourself. When you were younger, you probably had dreams, things you genuinely loved doing. Maybe drawing, creating videos, music, building things, helping people. But slowly, life teaches you to become realistic. People tell you, this won't make money. Be practical. Play it safe. So little by little, you stop listening to yourself. And eventually, you become a stranger to your own mind. That's why so many adults feel empty. Not because they failed, but because they abandoned who they truly were. And the craziest part, most people think purpose is something you magically discover one day. It's not. Purpose is built. You build it by trying things, by failing, by exploring, by being bad at something long enough to become good at it. The people who find purpose aren't the smartest people. They're simply the people who kept searching. So if you feel lost right now, you're not behind. You're just starting to wake up. That's okay. And maybe your purpose isn't something waiting to be found. Maybe it's something waiting to be created. Subscribe if you want videos that help you understand yourself better. Because in a world full of distractions, clarity is power.
Discipline isn't hard because you're lazy. It's hard because your brain is addicted to comfort. You say you want success, but every day you negotiate with your own excuses. Nobody ruined your potential. You abandoned it. Every time you chose comfort over consistency. Discipline starts when motivation dies. When nobody claps. When nobody watches. And you still keep going. Your brain is constantly searching for comfort. Easy dopamine. Fast entertainment. Instant pleasure. Social media. Junk food. Endless scrolling. Delaying your goals until tomorrow. And every time you choose comfort, your discipline gets weaker. Slowly. Quietly. Almost invisibly. That's why discipline feels painful. Because you're fighting against years of conditioning. Your brain wants the shortcut. But success demands repetition. Boring repetition. The kind nobody wants to do. Waking up early. Training when tired. Studying when distracted. Working when nobody is watching. That's the difference between people who dream and people who transform. Every morning, you make a decision. Not a big one. A small one. But small decisions create your entire future. The problem is, most people negotiate with their excuses. I'll start tomorrow. I'm too tired. One more episode. One more hour. I deserve a break. But discipline doesn't care how you feel. That's the brutal part. Feelings change every day. Results don't. Nobody builds a powerful life by obeying temporary emotions. Because if you only work when you feel motivated, you'll never become dangerous. The people you admire, they train themselves to act regardless of mood. That is real discipline. Not perfection. Consistency. Here's the truth most people avoid. Nobody is coming to save you. Not your friends. Not your parents. Not luck. Not motivation videos. Your future depends on what you do repeatedly. And that realization is terrifying. Because it removes every excuse. You can blame your situation. You can blame your past. You can blame your environment. But eventually, there comes a moment where you have to take responsibility. And responsibility feels heavy. Because once you realize your habits shape your life, you can no longer pretend you're powerless. Discipline is painful because it forces honesty. Honest about your habits. Honest about your laziness. Honest about your distractions. Honest about your wasted time. And most people would rather stay distracted than face themselves. People love the idea of success, but they hate the process required to earn it. Because the process is repetitive, lonely, uncomfortable. There are no crowds cheering for you at 5 a.m. Nobody celebrates the boring days, the missed parties, the sacrifices, the nights you kept working while everyone else relaxed. Discipline is built in silence, not in hype, not in motivation. Silence. That's why truly disciplined people move differently. They understand something most people never learn. Your life changes the moment you stop waiting to feel ready. Readiness is an illusion. Nobody feels ready. They just begin. Again. And again. And again, discipline is not punishment. It's self-respect. It's proving to yourself that your goals matter more than temporary comfort. Every disciplined action sends a message to your mind. I keep promises to myself. And over time, that changes you. You become mentally stronger, sharper, calmer, more focused. Because discipline builds confidence. Real confidence. Not fake confidence from social media validation, but confidence earned through action, through repetition, through suffering, through keeping going when quitting feels easier. That's how powerful people are created. Not overnight, but one difficult choice at a time. One day, your future self will look back at the choices you're making right now. The distractions, the excuses, the discipline, or the lack of it. And that version of you will either thank you or regret you. Because every habit is a vote. Every action is a direction. Every repeated choice becomes your identity. So the question is not, do you feel motivated today? The real question is, can you keep going when motivation disappears? Because that is where your new life begins. One day, the pain of discipline becomes nothing but the pain of regret that follows people forever. So decide now, comfort or the life you keep dreaming about. Subscribe.
You ever wake up tired, then spend the whole day trying to recover from being tired, only to somehow still feel tired when the day ends? Like, your battery never fully charges anymore. And the weird part is, sometimes it's not even about sleep. You can sleep 8 hours and still feel exhausted. You can take a weekend off and still feel mentally fried. You can drink coffee, take vitamins, buy productivity apps, listen to podcasts about discipline, and still feel like your brain is running on 12%. And after a while, that exhaustion becomes your personality. You stop saying, I'm having a tiring week, and start saying, I'm just always tired. That's the dangerous part. Because when exhaustion becomes normal, you stop questioning the habits causing it. And most people think exhaustion comes from doing too much. But honestly, a lot of the time, exhaustion comes from the small habits we repeat every single day without noticing. The habits that quietly destroy your energy, your focus, your motivation, your mood, your sleep, and eventually, your life. So in this video, we're going to break down the habits keeping you tired. Not the obvious surface level stuff. I mean the real habits. The psychological habits. The emotional habits. The digital habits. The modern life habits. Some of these are going to hit hard. Because chances are, you're doing several of them right now. And before you think, okay, this is just another productivity lecture. No. This isn't about becoming a robot. This is about getting your energy back. Because life feels very different when your brain isn't constantly exhausted. Let's start with the first habit. And honestly, it might be the biggest one. 1. Your brain never gets quiet. Your brain was not designed for this level of stimulation. From the second most people wake up, their mind is under attack. Notifications, texts, videos, music, emails, news, group chats, scrolling, background noise, multitasking. And the scary part is, we've gotten so used to overstimulation that silence now feels uncomfortable. People can't even stand in line without grabbing their phone. Can't eat without watching something. Can't shower without music. Can't walk without a podcast. Can't fall asleep without stimulation. Your brain never gets a break. And when your brain never rests, you feel mentally exhausted all the time. Not because you're weak. Because cognitive overload is real. Your attention is constantly being pulled in different directions. And every time your brain switches tasks, it burns energy. That's why you can spend an entire day online doing nothing, and still feel mentally destroyed afterward. Because your brain processed thousands of tiny inputs. And most people don't realize this. Mental exhaustion feels physical. That foggy feeling. The heaviness. The lack of motivation. The inability to focus. The weird emotional numbness. That's not laziness. That's overstimulation. One of the biggest lies modern culture tells us is that rest means consuming more content. They say, no energy, watch something. Feeling stressed, scroll. Feeling empty, distract yourself. But distraction isn't rest. A lot of people aren't resting. They're just stimulating themselves in different ways. And eventually your nervous system stays in this weird state where it's exhausted, but also unable to relax. That's why some people feel tired all day but suddenly awake at midnight. Their brain has forgotten how to slow down. So here's something simple that can genuinely change your energy levels. Create moments in your day where your brain is allowed to exist without input. No phone. No content. No dopamine machine. Just silence. And yes, at first it feels uncomfortable, because your brain is detoxing from constant stimulation. But over time, your mind starts calming down. You think more clearly. You feel less mentally scattered. And weirdly enough, you get your energy back. Because real rest is not just sleeping. Real rest is reducing mental noise. 2. You're sleeping, but not recovering. A lot of people think sleep is just about hours. But quality matters more than people realize. You can technically be unconscious for 8 hours, and still not recover. And modern habits are destroying sleep quality. Especially this one. Using your phone right before bed. Everyone knows this is bad, but most people still underestimate how bad. Because it's not just the light. It's the stimulation. Think about what your brain is doing before sleep. 1 second you're watching a funny video. Then bad news. Then relationship drama. Then someone showing their luxury lifestyle. Then a conspiracy theory. Then a motivational clip. Then another dopamine hit. Your nervous system is getting emotionally jerked around for an hour straight. And then you expect your brain to smoothly transition into deep recovery. It doesn't work like that. Your brain needs a landing strip before sleep. But most people are mentally flooring the gas pedal right until bedtime. And there's another problem. People use nighttime to emotionally escape. For a lot of people, late night scrolling is the only time they feel free. No responsibilities. No expectations. No work. So they stay awake longer than they should because psychologically, it feels like reclaiming their life. Which creates this brutal cycle. You stay up late to feel better. Then wake up exhausted. Then need stimulation and caffeine to survive. Then feel drained. Then repeat the same cycle at night. And honestly, this cycle is incredibly common. The issue isn't just sleep. It's that people never emotionally decompress during the day. So bedtime becomes emotional revenge. And one of the best things you can do for your energy isn't some biohacking trick. It's creating a nighttime routine that tells your nervous system, we're safe now. We can slow down. So you dim lights. No intense content. Stretching. Reading. Journaling. Calm music. Prayer. Silence. Your brain needs transition time. And when you start protecting your sleep instead of treating it like an afterthought, your entire life changes. Because good sleep doesn't just give you energy. It gives you emotional stability, mental clarity, patience, motivation, hope. People underestimate how dark life feels when your brain is chronically exhausted. 3. You're emotionally exhausted. This next one is huge. And people almost never talk about it. Sometimes you're not physically tired. You're emotionally tired. There's a difference. Physical exhaustion says, I need sleep. Emotional exhaustion says, I can't carry this anymore. And emotional exhaustion builds slowly. It comes from constant stress, unresolved anxiety, overthinking, toxic environments, pretending you're okay, people-pleasing, feeling behind in life, carrying responsibilities non-stop, being emotionally available for everyone else. You know what's exhausting? Acting normal when your mind is overwhelmed. That drains people more than they realize. Some people are tired because their nervous system has been in survival mode for years. Always alert. Always worried. Always anticipating problems. Always mentally preparing for worst-case scenarios. And eventually your brain starts treating stress as your default state. That's exhausting. And here's the thing. A lot of people don't even realize how emotionally overwhelmed they are because they've been functioning that way for so long. You can normalize suffering. You can normalize anxiety. You can normalize burnout. You can normalize emotional suppression. Until one day your body starts forcing you to notice. You lose motivation. You feel numb. You feel detached. You can't focus. You stop enjoying things. And people call themselves lazy, when really they're emotionally overloaded. One of the most important questions you can ask yourself is, what is draining me emotionally that I keep pretending is fine? That question changes lives. Because sometimes your exhaustion is trying to tell you something. Sometimes being tired is your body protesting the life your mind keeps tolerating. And no amount of coffee fixes emotional burnout. You have to actually deal with what's exhausting you. Which is hard. Because distraction is easier. But healing always costs less energy than pretending forever. 4. Your body hardly moves anymore. This sounds backwards. But one of the reasons people feel tired all the time is because they barely move. Modern life has made humans incredibly sedentary. Wake up. Sit. Commute. Sit. Work. Sit. Eat. Sit. Scroll. Sleep. And over time your body adapts to low energy output. People think, if I'm tired, I should conserve energy. But movement creates energy. Not instantly, but consistently. Your body was designed to move. And when you stop moving regularly, everything slows down. Your circulation, your mood, your metabolism, your focus, even your confidence. You ever notice how mentally different you feel after a walk? Especially outside. Something shifts. Your brain clears. Your stress lowers. Your body wakes up. And no, this isn't about becoming a gym influencer. This is about reconnecting your brain and body. Because a lot of people are mentally exhausted partly because they live entirely inside their head. Movement interrupts mental spirals. That's why some of your best ideas come while walking, or showering, or driving. Your nervous system resets through movement. And honestly, a lot of people are waiting to feel motivated before taking care of themselves. But energy often comes after action, not before. So if you feel tired all the time, start smaller than you think. 10-minute walks, stretching, sunlight, standing more. Tiny physical changes can create massive mental shifts. 5. You're constantly comparing your life. One of the most exhausting things in modern life is constantly feeling behind. And social media has turned comparison into a full-time psychological experience. You can wake up and within 5 minutes see someone richer than you, someone more attractive than you, someone more successful than you, someone happier than you, someone more disciplined than you. Your brain was never meant to compare itself to millions of people every day. And comparison creates this quiet emotional fatigue. Because no matter what you achieve, there's always someone doing better online. So people never feel done, never feel enough, never feel satisfied. And that constant pressure drains your energy. Especially because social media doesn't just show success. It shows optimized success. People are uploading their best angles, best moments, best vacations, best achievements. Meanwhile, you're comparing that to your raw, unfiltered everyday life. That's not a fair comparison. And after enough exposure, your normal life starts feeling emotionally underwhelming. That's dangerous. Because gratitude disappears when your brain is addicted to comparison. A lot of people are exhausted because they've unknowingly turned life into a competition that never ends. And the truth is, constant comparison destroys peace. You stop living. And start measuring. You stop appreciating. And start evaluating. You stop being present. And start obsessing over whether you're winning. That mindset is draining. One of the healthiest things you can do for your nervous system is reduce unnecessary comparison. Protect your attention. Protect your mind. Protect your peace. Because energy isn't just physical. It's emotional. And envy is exhausting. 6. You say yes to too much. Some people are tired because they have too much on their schedule. But some people are tired because too many people have access to them. There's a difference. Every conversation, every obligation, every favor, every emotional interaction. It costs energy. And if you constantly say yes because you don't want to disappoint people, you slowly exhaust yourself. People-pleasing is one of the fastest ways to burn out. Because you spend your life managing everyone else's emotions while ignoring your own. And eventually resentment starts building. You feel drained after social interactions. You feel mentally crowded. You want space but feel guilty taking it. And here's the hard truth. Sometimes exhaustion is a boundary problem. You keep giving energy you don't actually have. And the scary part is, many people don't even know who they are outside of being useful to others. So they overextend themselves constantly. Then wonder why they feel dead inside. Rest is not selfish. Alone time is not selfish. Boundaries are not selfish. Protecting your energy is necessary, because if your life leaves no room for recovery, you will eventually break down. And people often wait until burnout becomes severe before they finally slow down. But healthy people don't just manage time. They manage energy. That changes everything. 7. You're eating for dopamine, not energy. This one matters more than people want to admit. A lot of modern food destroys energy, especially ultra-processed, high-sugar, low-nutrient food. And look, this isn't about perfection. Nobody's saying you can never eat junk food again. But if most of your diet is quick dopamine and convenience, your body feels it. Your energy crashes. Your focus crashes. Your mood crashes. And caffeine makes this even worse sometimes. A lot of people aren't energetic. They're artificially stimulated. There's a difference. Coffee becomes survival. Energy drinks become survival. Sugar becomes emotional comfort. And eventually your body gets stuck in this cycle of spikes and crashes. Which explains why so many people feel okay for 1 hour, and terrible the next. Your body is constantly trying to help you. But modern habits often force it into survival mode. And the older you get, the more your body exposes your habits. You can't permanently outrun poor sleep, stress, bad nutrition, overstimulation, and emotional burnout. Eventually your body sends the bill. And honestly, one of the most powerful forms of self-respect is taking care of your body before it starts begging you to. 8. You have nothing to look forward to. This one is deeper. Sometimes people aren't just tired. They're emotionally disconnected from their life. Every day feels the same. Wake up. Work. Stress. Distract yourself. Sleep. Repeat. No excitement. No meaning. No anticipation. That kind of life drains people. Humans need emotional momentum. You need things that make you feel alive. Things that create curiosity. Things that reconnect you to yourself. And when life becomes pure survival mode, energy disappears. Because your brain isn't just asking, can we keep going? It's asking, what are we even going toward? This is why purpose matters so much. Not in some dramatic motivational speaker way, but in a human way. People can endure difficult seasons when life still feels meaningful. But when life feels emotionally empty, everything feels heavier. And sometimes the answer isn't becoming more productive. Sometimes the answer is reconnecting with joy. Music. Nature. Friendship. Creativity. Faith. Learning. Building something. Helping people. Real energy often returns when life feels meaningful again. And no app can replace that. Now the real reason you're always tired. Here's the truth. Most people are not designed for the pace of modern life. We are overstimulated, overworked, emotionally overwhelmed, chronically distracted, sleep deprived, disconnected from ourselves. And then we blame ourselves for being tired. But exhaustion is often information. Your mind, your body, your nervous system. They're trying to communicate with you. The problem is most people only listen once they completely crash. And maybe this video isn't really about energy. Maybe it's about awareness. Because once you become aware of the habits draining you, you stop fighting yourself. You stop assuming you're lazy, or broken, or weak. And instead you start realizing, oh, my life has been exhausting me. That realization changes everything. Because energy isn't something you magically find. It's something you protect. Through boundaries. Through sleep. Through stillness. Through movement. Through emotional honesty. Through better habits. Through slowing down enough to actually hear yourself again. And look, you don't need to fix your entire life overnight. That's another thing people get wrong. Tiny changes matter. Going to sleep earlier. Walking more. Less scrolling. More silence. Saying no more often. Eating better. Actually processing your emotions. Small habits shape your energy. And your energy shapes your entire life. Because when you're constantly exhausted, everything feels harder. But when your mind and body finally start recovering, you think clearer. You feel lighter. You become more patient. More hopeful. More alive. And honestly, that version of you is probably still in there. They're just tired. If this video resonated with you, Take a second and really think about which habit is draining you the most right now. Not someday. Not eventually. Right now. Because awareness is the first step toward getting your energy back. And if you know someone who's been feeling burnt out, exhausted, or mentally overwhelmed lately, send them this video. Sometimes people don't need more pressure. They just need someone to finally explain why they feel the way they do. And if you want more videos like this, deeper conversations about mindset, mental health, discipline, modern life, and becoming mentally stronger without becoming emotionally numb, subscribe. Take care of your mind. Take care of your body. And I'll see you in the next one. Everybody wants success. Everybody wants discipline. Everybody wants the results. But almost nobody stays consistent long enough to actually get there. People start businesses. Quit after 2 weeks. Start the gym. Quit after a month. Start learning a skill. Lose motivation. And then they tell themselves, maybe I'm just not disciplined. But that's not the real problem. The real reason most people never become consistent is because they completely misunderstand how consistency actually works. And once you understand this, your entire life changes. Consistency is probably the most romanticized skill on the internet. People think disciplined people wake up motivated every morning. They think successful people somehow unlocked a secret mindset. But the truth is, most successful people don't feel motivated either. They just built systems that make quitting harder. And that's the part nobody talks about. Because motivation is emotional. Consistency is structural. One disappears. The other survives bad days. That's why some people keep going even when life gets messy. And others stop the moment they feel tired. So in this video, I'm going to break down the real reasons people fail to stay consistent. And how you can actually fix it. Number 1. People rely on motivation. The first mistake people make is building their entire life around motivation. And motivation feels amazing. On day 1. You watch a powerful video. You get inspired. You make a plan. You tell yourself, this time is different. But motivation is emotional energy. And emotions are unstable. Some days you feel unstoppable. Other days you barely want to get out of bed. So if your progress depends on your emotions, your progress becomes unpredictable. That's why consistency isn't about feeling good. It's about removing the need to feel good. The gym has to happen whether you feel motivated or not. The work has to happen whether you feel inspired or not. The hardest truth is this. Your future is built on the days you don't feel like showing up, not the days you do. Number 2. People make goals too big. The second reason people fail to stay consistent is because they try to completely change their life overnight. And honestly, social media made this worse. People see insane morning routines, 4 a.m. wake-ups, cold showers, 2-hour workouts, reading 50 pages, meditation, journaling, business work, all in one day. So they try to copy everything at once. And for a few days, it works. Then reality hits. Because consistency doesn't come from intensity. It comes from sustainability. The person who studies 30 minutes every day for a year will beat the person who studies 10 hours for 1 week. Small actions repeated consistently always outperform massive actions done occasionally. That's how real transformation works. Quietly, slowly, repeatedly. Number 3. They attach consistency to identity. This is where most people destroy themselves mentally. They fail once, and suddenly turn it into identity. They miss one workout, then say, I'm lazy. They skip one day of work, then say, I never stay disciplined. But consistency was never supposed to mean perfection. Even the most disciplined people fail sometimes. The difference is, disciplined people don't emotionally collapse after one bad day. Most people think failure resets progress. It doesn't. Quitting does. Missing one day means nothing. Missing 30 because you felt guilty about one mistake? That changes everything. You need to stop treating temporary failure like permanent identity. Because the moment you label yourself, you start acting like the label. Number 4. Environment controls behavior. Here's something most people completely ignore. Your environment controls your behavior more than motivation ever will. If your phone is beside you, you'll check it. If junk food is in your room, you'll eat it. If distractions surround you, focus becomes harder. People blame themselves for lacking discipline, when their environment is literally designed to destroy focus. Want to become consistent? Make the habit easier. Prepare your workout clothes beforehand. Keep your workspace clean. Delete distractions. Reduce friction. The easier the action becomes, the more likely you are to repeat it. Consistency is less about willpower and more about intelligent design. Number 5. The real secret. The real secret behind consistency is understanding that success is usually boring. It's repetition, doing the same things over and over, long before results appear. That's why most people quit, because they expect immediate rewards. But real growth is invisible in the beginning. You go to the gym for weeks before seeing changes. You post videos before getting views. You work on skills before recognition comes. And during that phase, you need faith. Faith that your effort is building something, even when you can't see it yet. Most people stop too early, not because they were incapable, but because they expected progress to look dramatic. In reality, consistency looks ordinary, until one day, the results look extraordinary. So if you've been struggling to stay consistent, stop waiting to become a different person overnight. Stop chasing motivation. Stop trying to be perfect. Focus on showing up, even when it's boring, even when it's slow, even when nobody notices. Because consistency is not about intensity, it's about returning to the work. Again, and again, and again. That's how people change their lives. Quietly, daily, repeatedly, and one day, the person you wanted to become finally catches up to you. If this video helped you, subscribe for more videos about discipline, mindset, and self-improvement. And remember, you do not rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your systems. Most people think they're broke because they don't make enough money. But that's rarely the real reason. There are people making 6 figures who are drowning in debt. And there are people making average salaries quietly building wealth. The difference? Habits. Small daily decisions repeated over and over again. The scary part is, most poor habits don't look dangerous. Ordering food every day. Buying things to impress strangers. Scrolling for hours. Avoiding difficult conversations about money. Living paycheck to paycheck. These habits slowly destroy your future without you even noticing. And if you don't change them, you could stay financially stuck for the next 5, 10, or even 20 years. But today, we're breaking down the biggest habits keeping people broke, and exactly how to escape them. Most financial problems don't start with a lack of intelligence. They start with unconscious behavior. Nobody wakes up and says, I want to stay broke forever. But millions of people unknowingly build lifestyles designed to keep them trapped. Schools teach algebra, but they rarely teach budgeting. They teach history, but not investing. So people grow up learning how to earn money, but not how to manage it. And once bad habits become normal, they become invisible. That's why some people work harder every year, yet somehow feel poorer every year. Because income alone doesn't create wealth. Behavior does. Habit 1. Living to impress people. One of the fastest ways to stay broke is trying to look rich. A lot of people spend money they don't have to impress people they don't even like. The expensive watch, the luxury car payment, the designer outfit, the VIP lifestyle. Social media has made comparison a full-time job. People are now competing with strangers online every single day. And the result? Financial self-destruction. What most people don't realize is that many rich-looking people are deeply in debt. Real wealth is usually quiet. Wealth is ownership, investments, assets, freedom, not showing off. The truly wealthy often buy time and opportunities. The financially trapped buy status symbols. If your financial decisions are based on validation, you'll stay broke trying to maintain an image. Habit number 2. Never tracking money. You cannot control what you refuse to measure. And one of the most common poor habits is ignoring where money actually goes. Most people know exactly how many followers they have, but they have no idea how much they spent last month. Small expenses seem harmless. Coffee, food delivery, subscriptions, impulse purchases. But over time, tiny leaks sink financial ships. Money disappears silently. And because people avoid checking their finances, they stay stuck in confusion. Tracking money is uncomfortable at first, because it forces you to face reality. But awareness creates control. The moment you start tracking every dollar, you start changing your behavior automatically. Habit number 3. Instant gratification. We live in a world designed to destroy patience. Everything is instant. Instant food, instant entertainment, instant delivery, instant approval. And unfortunately, many people now expect instant success too. But wealth doesn't work like that. Building financial freedom requires delayed gratification. Saving instead of spending. Investing instead of consuming. Learning instead of escaping. The problem is that instant gratification feels good today, but creates pain tomorrow. While discipline feels difficult today, but creates freedom later. Poor habits prioritize temporary pleasure. Wealthy habits prioritize long-term results. Comment below, what's one thing you spend too much money on? Habit number 4, keeping the wrong people around you. Your environment shapes your future. If everyone around you wastes money, you'll eventually normalize wasting money. If your circle laughs at ambition, you'll slowly shrink your goals. Many people stay broke because their environment rewards bad decisions. Overspending becomes normal. Complaining becomes normal. Excuses become normal. And growth becomes rare. The people around you influence your standards, your habits, your mindset, your discipline, and your financial future. You don't need rich friends, but you do need growth-minded people. People who inspire improvement. People who challenge your thinking. People who value discipline. Habit number 5, wasting time every day. Most people say they want a better life, but their daily actions tell a different story. Hours disappear every single day. Scrolling, watching, complaining, escaping. Time is more valuable than money, because money can return. Time never does. The average person massively underestimates the power of consistency. 1 wasted hour per day equals 365 hours per year. That's over 15 full days gone. Imagine using those hours to learn a skill, start a side hustle, exercise, read, build content, study investing. Your future is hidden inside your daily routine, and every hour either builds your future or delays it. Habit number 6, refusing to learn new skills. The economy changes fast, and people who stop learning eventually fall behind. Many people want better income, but refuse to improve their value. The modern world rewards skills, communication, sales, marketing, technology, content creation, problem solving, AI tools. The internet has made learning more accessible than ever before. You can literally learn high-income skills from your phone. But too many people consume entertainment all day instead of education. The people who grow financially are usually the people who keep adapting. Because learning increases value, and value increases income opportunities. Habit number 7, depending on one source of income. One paycheck is often one problem away from disaster. That's the reality most people ignore. A job can disappear. An economy can shift. Unexpected expenses happen. And relying on only one income source creates vulnerability. Wealthy people understand leverage. They build multiple streams of income over time. Not overnight, but gradually. Investments, businesses, digital products, freelancing, content creation, side hustles. The goal isn't to work yourself to death. The goal is to create financial stability and freedom. Because financial stress decreases dramatically when money can come from multiple places. Habit number 8, emotional spending. A lot of spending has nothing to do with need. It has everything to do with emotion. People buy things when they feel stressed, lonely, bored, insecure, anxious. Shopping becomes emotional escape. For a moment, buying something creates excitement, but the feeling fades quickly, and the financial consequences remain. Emotional spending traps people in cycles. Stress leads to spending. Spending creates financial stress, which leads to more emotional spending. Breaking the cycle requires awareness. Before buying something, ask yourself, do I need this? Or am I trying to feel better? Habit number 9, fear of starting. One of the most expensive habits in life is waiting too long. Many people stay financially stuck because they never start. They wait for confidence. They wait for perfect timing. They wait until they know everything. But perfection doesn't exist. Every successful person started before they felt ready. Fear keeps people trapped in comfort. But growth only happens outside comfort. The business idea, the YouTube channel, the investment, the side hustle, the new skill. Most opportunities in life reward action, not endless thinking. You do not need to be perfect. You need to begin. Financial freedom is not built in one dramatic moment. It's built in small daily decisions. The habits you repeat every day shape your future. Poor habits create financial stress. Wealth habits create options. Start simple. Track your money. Spend less than you earn. Learn valuable skills. Protect your time. Build additional income. Choose better environments. And most importantly, stay consistent. Because consistency changes lives. You don't need to become rich overnight. You just need to stop repeating the habits that keep you broke. If this video helped you think differently about money, make sure you subscribe. Because your financial future is shaped by the information you consume daily. And remember, your habits today determine your reality tomorrow. See you in the next video. Motivation is a liar. It shows up when things are easy. It disappears when things become uncomfortable. And that's exactly why so many people never become who they want to be. Because they built their entire life around waiting to feel ready. Waiting to feel inspired. Waiting to feel confident. Waiting to feel energized. But successful people, they don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. And discipline is not something you're born with. It's something you build. Because the truth is, most of your life will happen on days when you don't feel like doing anything. The workout, the studying, the business, the editing, the writing, the healing, the growth. Nobody talks enough about those silent days. The days when your energy is low. Your confidence disappears. Your emotions feel heavy. But those are the days that actually shape your future. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to stay disciplined even when motivation completely disappears. Not with fake positivity. Not with unrealistic routines. But with real systems. Real psychology. And practical methods you can actually use every single day. Most people think they're lazy. But in reality, they're emotionally exhausted. There's a difference. And if you've ever started something with excitement, only to quit a few weeks later, you know exactly what this feels like. At first, everything feels easy. You wake up motivated. You watch productivity videos. You make goals. You imagine a better version of yourself. But eventually reality arrives. The excitement fades. The results are slow. The work becomes repetitive. And suddenly your brain says, maybe tomorrow. That's where most dreams die. Not because people aren't capable, but because they never learned how to continue when emotions change. And emotions always change. Some days you'll feel unstoppable. Other days you'll feel numb. Discipline means continuing anyway. And no, that doesn't mean becoming robotic. It means learning how to move forward even with imperfect emotions. That's the real skill. Because if your actions depend on your feelings, your future will always be unstable. Why motivation fails? Motivation is emotional energy. And emotional energy is temporary. That's the first thing you need to understand. Your brain loves novelty. It loves excitement. It loves immediate rewards. That's why starting feels amazing. A new gym plan. A new business idea. A new routine. A fresh notebook. A new year. Your brain gets flooded with dopamine because the possibility of transformation feels exciting. But eventually, the novelty disappears. And when novelty disappears, effort becomes visible. Now it's no longer exciting. Now it's repetition. And repetition is where discipline is born. The problem is that modern life has trained people to chase emotional stimulation instead of consistency. Social media constantly feeds your brain quick dopamine. One swipe, one video, one notification, one distraction. Your brain becomes addicted to feeling good immediately. But discipline requires delayed gratification. Doing hard things before rewards appear. That's uncomfortable. And uncomfortable things are exactly what build powerful people. The gym becomes hard before it becomes rewarding. Studying becomes painful before results appear. Business becomes exhausting before money arrives. Every meaningful goal has a period where effort feels invisible. And most people quit in that invisible phase. But disciplined people understand something important. Results are delayed. Your current life is the result of repeated actions. And your future life will be built the exact same way. Motivation says, I'll do it when I feel ready. Discipline says, I'll do it whether I feel ready or not. That single difference changes everything. Motivated people only perform under ideal conditions. Disciplined people perform consistently. And consistency beats intensity every single time. Think about it. Reading 10 pages a day for a year changes your life. Working out 3 times a week consistently transforms your body. Saving small amounts regularly builds financial stability. Small repeated actions become massive outcomes. But discipline is misunderstood. People think discipline means suffering constantly. It doesn't. Real discipline is reducing the number of negotiations you have with yourself. Every time your alarm rings, your brain starts negotiating. Maybe later. I'm tired. 1 more hour. Disciplined people shorten the negotiation. They act before emotions create excuses. That's why routines matter. That's why systems matter. That's why habits matter. Because systems reduce decision-making. And fewer decisions mean less emotional resistance. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. That's why people fail after motivation disappears. They had inspiration, but they never built structure. The real reason people quit. Here's something most people never realize. People rarely quit because something is physically impossible. They quit emotionally. They quit because progress feels slow. They quit because they compare themselves to others. They quit because they expected transformation to happen faster. And eventually disappointment becomes stronger than commitment. That's why emotional management matters. Because discipline is not just physical. It's psychological. You need to learn how to continue doing. Boredom, self-doubt, stress, anxiety, low confidence, low energy, frustration. Those moments are part of the process, not signs to stop. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing successful people always feel motivated. They don't. They simply train themselves to act independently from emotion. And honestly, that's one of the greatest superpowers you can develop. Because once your actions stop depending on your mood, your growth becomes unstoppable. You stop waiting. You stop restarting. You stop living in cycles. You become reliable. And reliability changes your entire life. The 7 systems to stay disciplined. System 1. Lower the entry barrier. The first system is simple. Make starting easier. Most people fail because their goals are too emotionally heavy. They tell themselves, I need to study for 5 hours. I need a perfect workout. I need maximum productivity. Your brain resists huge emotional pressure. Instead, reduce the entry barrier. Tell yourself, just open the laptop. Just do 5 minutes. Just put on gym clothes. Just write 1 paragraph. Action creates momentum. And momentum creates motivation. Not the other way around. You don't need to feel ready. You need to begin. System 2. Remove friction. Discipline becomes easier when the environment supports your goals. If distractions are easier to access than productive habits, you'll lose that battle repeatedly. So reduce friction. Prepare your environment in advance. Put your phone away. Lay out your clothes the night before. Keep healthy food visible. Prepare your workspace. Delete unnecessary distractions. Environment shapes behavior more than motivation does. A distracted environment creates distracted actions. A focused environment creates focused behavior. System 3. Stop trusting your feelings. This might sound harsh, but your feelings are not always reliable. Some mornings your brain will tell you, skip today. But skipping repeatedly becomes identity. You cannot build a powerful life by obeying every temporary emotion. Feelings change hourly. Your standards should not. Discipline means learning to say, I understand how I feel, but I'm still going to do what matters. That sentence alone can transform your future. System 4. Focus on identity. Most people focus only on outcomes. I want to lose weight. I want money. I want success. But disciplined people focus on identity. They ask, who do I need to become? Because identity drives behavior. When you identify as someone disciplined, your actions begin aligning with that identity. Instead of saying, I'm trying to work out, say, I'm someone who trains consistently. Instead of, I'm trying to write, say, I'm a writer. Your brain works hard to stay consistent with identity. That's why identity-based discipline is so powerful. System 5. Track small wins. Your brain needs evidence of progress. That's why tracking matters. Use a calendar. Use a habit tracker. Use a journal. Not because perfection matters, but because visibility creates accountability. When people don't track progress, they emotionally feel like nothing is happening. But small wins compound. 1 workout matters. 1 study session matters. 1 productive day matters. Tiny consistent actions eventually become massive transformation. Never underestimate repeated effort. System 6. Build recovery into your life. Discipline is not self-destruction. Burnout is not productivity. Some people fail because they try to become machines. But sustainable discipline requires recovery. Sleep matters. Mental rest matters. Exercise matters. Deep breathing matters. Going outside matters. You cannot expect high performance from an exhausted nervous system. The goal is not intensity forever. The goal is consistency for years. That's what creates extraordinary results. System 7. Master the do-it-anyway mindset. This is the final system. And honestly, it changes everything. There will always be reasons not to act. You're tired. You're stressed. You're discouraged. You're overwhelmed. But growth often happens after resistance. The people who change their lives are usually the people who learn to say, I don't feel like it, but I'll do it anyway. That mindset builds confidence. Because confidence is not built by thinking. It's built by proving to yourself repeatedly that you can act even when things feel difficult. Every time you follow through despite resistance, your identity becomes stronger. And eventually discipline stops feeling forced. It becomes who you are. Identity shift. Imagine becoming someone who no longer depends on motivation. Someone who keeps promises to themselves. Someone who acts consistently. Someone reliable. That changes everything. Because discipline doesn't just build success. It builds self-respect. Every time you follow through, you trust yourself more. And people with self-trust become dangerous in the best possible way. They stop waiting for perfect conditions. They understand that emotions come and go. But standards remain. And eventually they realize something powerful. The life they wanted was never built through motivation. It was built through repeated disciplined actions during ordinary days. That's where transformation really happens. Not during inspiration, but during repetition. So if you're watching this during a difficult season, if you feel stuck, if your motivation disappeared, if your energy feels low, remember this. You do not need to feel perfect to keep moving. You only need to continue. One step, one action, one decision at a time. Because discipline is not about becoming superhuman. It's about becoming dependable. And the moment you stop waiting for motivation, your life begins to change. If this video helped you, subscribe for more videos about mindset, discipline, productivity, and self-improvement. And comment below, do it anyway. Because that mindset might completely transform your future. If you're watching this, there's a good chance you're tired. Not physically tired. The kind of tired sleep can't fix. The kind that comes from trying, and trying, and trying, only to feel like nothing is working. Maybe you've been fighting for months. Maybe years. Maybe today was the day you finally thought, what's the point anymore? Before you close this video, before you decide to quit, give me the next few minutes. Because what you're feeling right now might not be the end. It might be the moment everything changes. And if nobody has told you lately, I'm glad you're still here. Why you feel like giving up? Most people don't give up because they're weak. They give up because they're exhausted. Exhausted from carrying expectations. Exhausted from disappointment. Exhausted from waiting. Nobody talks about this part. Everyone celebrates success. Nobody talks about the years spent struggling in silence. The nights nobody saw. The tears nobody knew about. The self-doubt. The fear. The loneliness. And after enough setbacks, your mind starts asking dangerous questions. What if I'm not good enough? What if this never works? What if everyone else was right? Those thoughts feel real, but feelings are not facts. Just because you feel defeated, doesn't mean you are defeated. The bamboo story. Have you heard about the Chinese bamboo tree? 4 years. Nothing appears above the ground. You water it. You nurture it. You wait. 1 year. 2 years. 3 years. Still nothing. Most people quit. But underneath the soil, roots are growing. Then suddenly, within weeks, it shoots up dramatically. The growth wasn't happening in weeks. It was happening underground for years. Maybe that's you. Maybe your roots are growing. Maybe the reason you don't see progress is because you're building strength nobody can see yet. Every success story looked like failure first. People see victories. They don't see sacrifices. Every successful person you've ever admired spent time doubting themselves. The difference? They kept moving. Not because they always believed. Because they refused to stop. Some days courage isn't confidence. It's simply refusing to quit today. And sometimes that's enough. How many times have you almost quit already? And yet, you're still here. That means something. The hardest truth. Nobody is coming to save you. And strangely, that's good news. Because it means your future isn't controlled by anyone else. Not your past. Not your mistakes. Not your failures. Not your critics. The moment you accept responsibility, you reclaim power. And power changes everything. The day everything changes. The day your life changes won't look dramatic. No fireworks. No movie soundtrack. No crowd cheering. It starts with a decision. One decision. To keep going. To try again. To stand back up. To believe one more time. Great lives are built from ordinary days repeated consistently. Not perfection. Consistency. Maybe nobody else believes in you right now. That's okay. You only need enough belief to take the next step. Not the next year. Not the next decade. Just the next step. The fact you're still fighting means the story isn't over. You have survived every difficult day so far. Every setback. Every disappointment. Every heartbreak. And you're still here. So before you quit, remember this. The person you want to become is depending on the decisions you make today. Don't give up. Not now. Not when you've come this far. Your future self is waiting. Keep going. We'll see you on the other side.